Alright, we are live. Excellent. Well, I'm gonna share the link to the stream. Just gonna post this so that people can see it. Hello there, viewer. I am just starting another round of shapes. I need to unwind. Really what I ought to do is take a nice warm shower after this, which is what I'd do if there weren't a thunderstorm around here. Although it hasn't been thundering very much, thankfully. Anyway, let's talk about showers now and more talk about shapes. We left off last time at, oh yeah, we were gonna make these shapes. We have to combine paints and do that. And I decided that currently the most efficient way to do it is to just have a bunch of small factories instead of one big factory. Fortunately, there are lots of different places to get resources from. Not so much for these stars, though. We'll have to be careful with the stars. We have to make 800 of them. Shouldn't be too bad. And they have to be cyan, which we get by making... Oh, we're gonna have to make a lot of these stars for upgrades. But yeah, shouldn't be too bad. Let's just hook all these up. Probably hook up the blue ones first, and then I'll hook up the green ones afterwards. Again, the microphone quality is not great because I really don't feel like plugging in my headset right now. I don't know how I'm going to rig this. It's not a very tileable design, which may not be the best in the long run, but you know what? That's okay. I'll worry about mass-scale factories once I get the blueprints. For now, this will be fine. This is not efficient in the slightest. But does it matter? For now, it does. It always matters if things are efficient, but... I think this will do. This is just one small factory, and if it works, I guess. This factory's not too inefficient. It's actually quite nice. And I have these compact mergers, which are always nice. I love them. They're just so good. Like, seriously. Here we go. That's not so bad. And now we can hook this up to, we'll just get this hooked up to the main hub for, this transport. Guess I'll merge it with the red circles. Do we need red circles? Not really, but I'm keeping the red circles. Yeah, cyan stars are going to get merged into that one, so that it'll be easier. It's nice to play something relaxing at the end of the day. Life is hectic, but there are always shapes. The world is hectic. Everything that's going on right now is all really just terrible. Well, not everything that's going on is terrible. There are a lot of good things happening, but especially recently. I guess I'll build another shape area. Where were those other stars? Although I need to get a lot of undyed stars in, too. I guess I ought to do that instead. I'll do that. Hey, why not both? Both? Yeah, both is good. And we'll merge these. We don't have the stacks sorters yet. I'm not gonna put it with those. I guess these stars can go ahead and go with... why not put them with the magenta circles? What could go wrong? Oh. Well, this will be a bit unorthodox, but... Oops. That's okay. Actually. Get some extra of these. Oh! Oops, that would definitely be a problem. Let's go ahead and fix this. Can't believe I didn't see that. Next it'll tell me that it's just... You know? Yeah. Don't need to travel any more distance than we need to. And... good spankin' work, me. Can't believe I just said that. I just said, like, forget everything in this factory. That's hilarious. Yeah. You know me. There we go. Now we're talking. Hopefully things won't get so backed up. Let's see how the production rate is on our stars. We can always filter some of these out and make cyan stars if necessary. We should probably make these into cyan ones. You got dye. You can get the blue from over there, put her in the green. We'll just go small scale again. I hope I'm not too much of a bore to listen to. I just don't have the energy, honestly. You know, sometimes I think my problem is I'm too afraid of being wrong. That's my problem with a lot of things. I am too afraid to do things because I'm afraid I'll be doing them wrong, and I obsess over them, so that I'll try and do it right the first time. But I guess I need to learn that it's okay to be wrong sometimes. Well, really, it's just okay to be wrong, period. Being wrong is how we learn things. And as long as you're at least trying to do the right thing with the information that you have, I think that's what matters. You shouldn't be so obsessed with tiptoeing over every little thing that you say that it just makes you sick to your stomach. I think that especially with social media as it is, and cancel culture having sprung into existence, I think it's definitely been a lot more pressing on people's minds what exactly they say and do. For some people, they've just decided to become more mindful of it, so they can hold up to the ridiculous standards of social media. But some people have taken it way too seriously and get really stressed out about it, and I am one of those people. I'm not afraid of getting canceled, I'm just afraid that I'm going to say or do something wrong, and it's going to... people aren't going to like that. I guess I just think that people are too judgmental. That's why I like shapes. Shapes aren't judgmental at all, like people. You just build them, or you just make shapes, and that's all you do, man. Don't have to worry about shapes getting mad at you. You don't have to worry about getting into an argument with shapes. You don't have to worry about shapes never being your friend again because of something you said. You don't have to worry about shapes thinking about you in a certain way just because of something you said. Ooh, I completed the next level. And we got the stacker. The stacker is fun enough. And I believe after we get stacking, we will... No, we're not to blueprints quite yet. And hey, good thing we set up a separate cyan star factory, because we're going to need more cyan stars to make these shapes. Yeah, like I was saying, shapes don't care about what you think, they're just shapes. Sometimes I wish people would be a lot more like shapes. Maybe I should try and be more like a shape. That's one of my personal flaws. I get really upset about people disagreeing with me sometimes. I used to not be like that. But then I eventually felt like I had the need to, correct people whenever it seems like they were wrong. I know that sounds bad, and that's because it is bad. But that's just one of my character flaws that I have to work on. I don't know, it's just really hard to not get offended by things sometimes, but you have to remember that people are people, and people are imperfect, and you have to just forgive people for being imperfect, and that they're just no more wrong than I am. And believe me, I'm very wrong. I guess the reason I'm having these problems is because I've never had to tackle anything like this before. I've never had a situation where my production line is backed up. No, I've had that situation a lot. But I've never had a situation where I've had to actually think about whether or not people would think about me being wrong about something and think of me in a bad way. You know, these shapes aren't really going in so hot. Wait a minute. If these shapes are going in here, then... Oh, these shapes are going here. You know what I ought to do is get these shapes routed up to a stacker with these. That's exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to need to cut some green circles first. And these half circle, half squares will do. I should probably be saving up on more exotic shapes, but I think there will be always more of these. No need to worry about it. And like I learned, you have to dye the shapes before you cut them. Wonder who else watching my stream. Let's see, probably gonna need a fifth one. No fancy mixing here, just straight up green. When you have to make white, that's when things get tricky, because you have to have all three. And it can get really hairy very quickly. But it's worth it. Let's go ahead and get these guys in the painter. And I do worry more about what people think of me nowadays than I should. I guess that's just a byproduct of me being more online and more into social media nowadays. Everyone's expected to behave a certain way or else they'll be rejected. I guess that's how society is a lot sometimes. Or some societies are anyway. Some situations. Kind of makes you feel trapped. But what I have problems with is I see something and then I get concerned and then it upsets me because it conflicts with what I previously believed, and I'm afraid that if I think a certain way of something then I'll be wrong, and I don't know what the right thing is to think about things sometimes. I'll be truthful. I don't know everything about everything. I'm not that smart. Or at least I'm not that smart about that kind of thing. I like to think I'm at least somewhat intelligent about the things that I'm studying. But I'm not really in the loop with a lot of what goes on in the world. And I feel like being so closed off is probably a bad thing. Or it could be a bad thing. Because I'm afraid that I won't be able to know what's right or wrong, supposedly. And I don't know what is, sometimes. I don't know what to believe. And I'm afraid that if I do get it wrong, I'll just be wrong and then I'll just be in bad shape. And I'll suffer forever. But you know, it's like I was saying earlier, I shouldn't obsess so much over being right or wrong about something. I just need to be concerned about trying to do the best I can with the information that I have. And that's all that matters. Because if you do something right, but in your heart, if you do something that's completely innocent, but in your heart you believe that you're wrong, did you really do something right in the first place? Of course, you can't exactly say that about doing something wrong. If you believed that it was okay to commit several thousand felonies and war crimes in Bosnia or something, you would still be in the wrong. But generally speaking, I think that as far as the other way around goes, that's very true. I always thought I was great with stuff like that, but I guess I never really got myself sorted out, because I lived a pretty comforting life back in, like, high school especially. And then, of course, when things went south, everything just kind of spiraled out of control. Alright, now let's take these shapes. Instead of merging these, let's get them cut, because we can't have production lines being compromised. Whoop. Let's see. I guess I don't need to worry so much about being wrong. I just need to try and do the best I can and try and do what I can best approximate as right. My policy is just, my personal policy is just to not be mean. I think that's pretty straightforward. And it pretty well gets you far in a lot of things. Rest assured that if you're not being mean to somebody, 9 times out of 10 you'll always be doing the right thing. Because honestly, I personally believe that just loving and respecting each other is the crux of every single adequate moral code ever. That's just my personal view. Of course, that partly comes from my religious background, where love is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing to do. I need to split these up. No, I want to split them up. I keep forgetting that I have, like, 4 lines. But yeah. I think that as long as you just try to be nice to people, or be kind to people is what you should be. There's a difference between being nice and being kind. Someone can be nice to you and have completely ill intentions. But if you're kind, there are no ill intentions in that whatsoever. Oops. But yeah. I think that love is probably the most important thing in terms of moral codes in general. If you're doing something that's not out of love, then, well, it's probably not the thing to do. Streaming again. Yep, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. I've started making these shapes. Now let's make 1,000 of them. Let's see how this production goes. I'm thinking I should probably merge this with these other shapes now that I have the means to do so. The production from these is fairly small, so I think I can afford it. But yeah, earlier I was just talking about how hard it is to know what to do sometimes. Honestly, I just think that doing everything out of love and kindness is probably the best way to go, as cliche as that sounds. If you try and do that, then you will be best. But here's a dilemma I have. I want to be right about everything, and I'm afraid of being wrong. But I don't ever get the full scope of everything that happens because I try to avoid stuff like that because it distresses me. However, not getting the full picture means that I have a compromised view of what the right thing was, and I'm paranoid about whether or not what I'm thinking is right, and then it makes me distressed. So it's a vicious cycle. But honestly, I think I found that the solution is just not to care at all about that. Like I said, as long as you're just doing your best to do what is right with the knowledge that you have, I think that you'll be in pretty good shape. Of course, many plots in movies and books and such have been about people with good intentions doing something very bad. But I think that if you have the right morals at your core, I think that you can't really go wrong very often. Humans have that kind of intuition built in pretty well. Let's see how it's going. Looks like things are starting to get a little bit clogged on this line. I think I might have to route these to another one. But where? Can't do this one. Do I still need these? You bet I do. It's tricky. I could probably chain it up with these circles, honestly. Let's see if I can do that. And then I just do that. Yeah. And then I just... Yeah, and then I just connect. This. Of course, when it comes to trying to do the right thing, I think that you should try and be consciously aware of what's morally right and wrong. Although generally speaking, like I said before, I think that having love at your core is probably the best way to go about that. To have sound morals, I mean. I might have to just... It's still not going so well. I might have to just sever this all together and have them be separate. I think I'm gonna do that. There we go. Much easier. It's not perfect, but I think it is definitely reducing the flow on the shapes. Or reducing the clutter with the shapes. Or not. Maybe I just need to put them on separate ones altogether. But doing that might be tricky. With the setup we have here. Let's try... Let's try just merging these. What a game. Merging, sorting, assembling shapes. It's very industrial, obviously. There we are. Now we're getting them in. That's nice to see. That is what I want to see. I like my thumbnail a lot. It's very amusing. But yeah, honestly, I think I might do daily streams like these, or nightly in my case. Because it's nice to kind of unwind. Even though it does get late in the night, I have my own reasons for streaming so late. I just feel better that way. It's when everybody in the house is not awake and I don't have to worry about being disturbed while I stream. And also, my friend was streaming earlier tonight at around 9 o'clock, so I just waited until now. I don't have to get up early for anything tomorrow, so I figured, why not? But yeah, I could be going and making this more efficient. Let's see what the problems are. Let's go to our... Looks like we could get some more of these extractors out to painters, for one thing. But that's for these shapes, mainly. Let's go back here and try and make this a bit more efficient. It's not the most high-level design, but... it'll do. It'll Do is the name of a game that I should probably play sometime. I don't know what kind of game that is. I've never tried it. But it seems cute. First of all, let's see if there's room in our setup for splitting. What I'm thinking we need to do is cut this area out with a die, and just do that. There we go. It'll kind of weave around, but that's okay. There we go, more extraction. That's nice. Maybe I should... I don't know. Nah, I think I should probably just go over here and do it. Wait until you have wiring. LOL. Yeah, wiring will hopefully wiring will make things easier. I have no idea how to use wiring because I only had the demo version before. I was just testing it out and seeing if I liked it. And spoilers, I love it. Way too much. Shapes is probably going to steal my life now. But you know, things like that only come around once in a lifetime. You can't really complain. I mean, the only other game I'd say that's had that kind of impact on me is Minecraft. A similar game in terms of creativity. Except it's completely different. Well, I guess there are some similarities. Both Minecraft and Shapes.io are about you building things in a world to try and solve problems. It just goes about it in different ways. In Shapes, you just have a massive factory. Of course, comparing everything to Minecraft is such a me thing to do. I was obsessed with Minecraft back in like junior high. Completed level 11 already. I guess it doesn't matter now if I get those shapes done. Oh well. At least it was worth the thought. Now here's a philosophical question for you. Is it truly the thought that counts? I mean, you could think of literally anything, good or bad. That's what intrusive thoughts are. Although when people say it's the thought that counts, generally they're talking about, like, just thinking. Also, am I loud enough? If I'm too soft, please let me know, because I'm far away from the mic. I have the volume of the game turned way, way down. I learned very long ago that it was a good idea to have your game volume turned down, but I'm still not sure if it's good or not. Alright, now here's where we're gonna have to make white. Actually, maybe I could use the excess cyan dye from one of these in order to mix with red, and then we could get white from that. Is that a good practice? Probably not. But hey, whatever. It's not the worst thing I've done. Let's go over to the other factory. I designed these way too compact. I think I would just make another cyan factory. Up here. Oh yeah, chained extractors. We won't need chaining extractors along here because we can't even mix the dyes faster than we produce them. Once that happens, we'll be good. Can't wait till we make that shape. Let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on both. We'll need 6 of these. Maybe I could just... Yeah. Actually, no. That was a bad idea. There we are. Shape. 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 Well, these aren't shapes, these are paints. What kind of environment is this where you can just extract paint from the ground? I don't know, but I'm buying it. You seem loud enough to me. Thank you for the feedback. I try not to be too loud. On general principle. Wish we had those long tunnels. I guess we could try and do what we were trying to do before. And just make it so that they are like that. Yeah. For sure. Okay, I have an idea on how I can get these up here. Instead of, I'm gonna take the side three and bring them down. So that I can in turn bring them up here. I think it'll work alright with these. You know, it's nice that we have these Shapes.io streams so we can talk about the really, deep stuff in life. Like, is there a God? Why do good things happen to bad people, and why do bad things happen to good people? How on earth do you optimize your factory for the maximum production of blueprint shapes? It's those kinds of questions that people really think about, and I'm glad that Shapes.io is here to help us bond over something neutral and answer them together. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but seriously, it's nice to vibe out to some shapes. And there we are. Fresh out of the oven. I literally would throw you my old save files before Wires updates. Well, I just wanted to play from the beginning so I could get the experience. The experience trademark. But it would be cool to see some of your old stuff. I would love to see it. Would I? Yes, I would. But continuing what I was saying earlier, I could try and ignore everything out there and just be concerned about doing whatever the right thing is in my eyes. Or I don't mean my eyes, just whatever I think the right thing is in the context, but shouldn't I try and get information about things so I will know what the right thing is? Well, I think to a certain extent that's true. You should always try and be learning more about the world around you. But I think that if it's stressing you out and it's making you unhealthy, I think that you can afford to make some compromises there. And there's just some things that you just know in your heart are probably a certain way. And besides, if you are wrong about something, it's not a super big deal. You're just wrong. Nothing wrong with that. Oh yeah, for anyone just joining, sorry, I kind of turned this into a rambly stream about me whining about my personal problems, as is very typical. I just realized I do not have 6 of these. Like, there are a lot of things that I used to believe that I would not agree with now. I don't just mean, like, politics or anything like that. I mean just things that I thought back in the day, but nowadays I don't think in the slightest. I won't try and discuss that, because they're not terribly spicy topics, just topics that would have some contention. I think part of that is just because we've gained more information in general in society, and I have too. Although honestly, a lot of that should have been common sense to someone like me. I say I'm atheist because how is there a God? That's not in the scope of this stream. I'm not going to discuss that. Funny, I hate my old save files. They predate to the first versions of the game. Ooh, that sounds cool. I would like to see that. I was looking at old stuff, like Minecraft world maps are what I think about when I think of that. Like when people boot up their old worlds from like 8 years ago. What's really neat to me is like the map for like servers like 2B2T who have been around for like years. And it's just all of this like stuff from the old versions of Minecraft and just all the stuff going on. It's quite crazy. I know crazy is a word that a lot of people use, but it is crazy just the sheer history the server has. Every crater, every dent, every single build, and all that terrain from the older versions of Minecraft. Granted, they've had to... It's probably not that far back because the world would corrupt, but my point still stands, I think. Those shapes do be shapy. Thank you for the support. Oh hey, welcome. I just bought this game because it does look pretty cool. Yeah, if you like games like Factorio, where you have to manage factories and stuff, you should definitely look into this game. It's very entertaining. For someone like me, anyway. Also, I haven't known you ever doing a wrong thing, so I think you're doing a pretty good job with the whole life thing. Aw, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I just get too obsessive over things like that, about what people think. I used to not be that way so much. But like I said, I think that modern internet culture has kind of ruined that for me. People get in a tizzy over someone doing one little thing, and then their entire reputation is ruined. Although, if you really think about it, that's not something internet and culture invented. That's just something that's kind of been a thing throughout human history in various different forms. So yeah. Sorry if I'm getting a bit too serious. I mean, it's just a game about shapes. That's okay. It's nice to have these heart-to-heart talks sometimes. I view them as kind of heart-to-heart. Feels good to finally talk about something that bothers me and get it off my chest. Alright, so the white's up here, the circles are down here. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. So now we just gotta merge the white with the circles. Now we'll just do the typical paint structure like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But yeah, as far as doing wrong things go, I mean, I've had changing opinions about things, but like, I've never actually sought out to do anything morally wrong. I've just been learning more about how things work. I think it's just a part of growing up, probably. Because especially a lot of the stuff was from when I was a kid, like a younger kid. And of course, you have a lot of misconceptions back then. And no one's going to be completely 100% knowledgeable on everything, so I don't think you should obsess over it to the point where it makes you stressed out. And like I said, if you have love at the core of everything you do, 99.99999999999% of the time you can't go wrong. You know how hand sanitizer bottles say that they kill 99.9% of bacteria? Well, this is even more certain than that. Because you're not going to have the 0.1% just vibing out on your hands afterwards. Also, wash your hands, not just with sanitizer, but soap and water too. Because, yeah, chemicals. Nothing wrong with chemicals. I mean, we're made out of chemicals, but it's not so good to have constant exposure of harsh chemicals on your hands. Like, don't obsessively wash like 5 or 6 times in a row with hand sanitizer, I guess. Well, I mean, washing several times a day with hand sanitizer is probably fine. I mean, like, immediately in succession with each other. I guess only the most hard-boiled of germaphobes would do that. Germaphobes. I meant to say germophobes, but it sounded like I was saying germaphobes, like Germa the streamer. That sounds like a meme that someone would make, you know, like where they have those things like blank whenever they see blank. Germaphobes whenever Germa starts streaming. I think that would be that one's very funny, actually. I should make that sometime. I try to be quite the meme connoisseur. Gotta find the... I think the best ones are the homebrewed ones. Or maybe I'm just biased because they're a lot more personal. Throws a randomly generated shape at random something. Be like, build shape! Pretty much. Soaking hands in a vat of sanitizer for 24 hours. Pretty much. That sounds like something out of an episode of SpongeBob. Probably because there was an episode like that. Well, yo, why do a swing bob be sanitizing his hands, though? But yeah, my favorite one of those memes, one of my favorites is like bartenders whenever they see a Bart. And it's like instead of bartender, it's Bartender. I like that one a lot. Alright, we got our white circles. We got 6 rows of them. I think that's pretty good. Now we just gotta make what's gonna go on the underside, which is simple. It's just a blue thingy. Literally, you just have to find this thingy and paint it. Some maps you get lucky, some maps you have to search around, but this map... I don't know if all maps are 100% the same. I think they're partially randomized, because this layout is different than the last factory I built on the demo. But yeah. Nothing quite like searching. Aha! Here we are. We'll have to rotate it a bit, but there's no problem with that. We're gonna have to take these so far. That's hilarious. 6. Aw yeah, baby. We got him. Let's rotate him at the start and save the effort. And we'll just get rid of these. What could go wrong? There we go. Alright, now we gotta get these all the way up here. It'll take a while to initially get them there, but I think it'll be okay. Maybe we can kind of meet in the middle up here. I think this is a good place to maintain blueprint production. Where was that? There it is. I love just being able to make sprawling factories like this with reckless abandon. Like in Factorio and games like that, you usually have like limited resources, but in this game, the only resource you have to worry about is space. And that's something I really like. Just having a sandbox of infinite potential, and just having to be able to work it out. And you get rewarded with more and more ways to do it. You start out learning how to manage the simple stuff, simple conveyors and mergers and extractors, and then gradually you get more and more tools, but only after you've learned how to use the basic ones. And then you get introduced to more and more complex systems. It's a beautiful game, beautifully simplistic, beautifully addicting. And the best part is, you just never know what shape is going to come through next. It's like on Pawn Stars. The best part is, you never know what's going to come right through that door. I haven't watched Pawn Stars in ages, although honestly, I've really kind of fallen out of interest with a lot of shows like that over the years. Mainly just, I guess, because I've become disillusioned with the whole thing. I never really thought that, quote, reality, end quote, shows like that were very real in the first place, but it just doesn't drive the same experience. One show I like on History Channel in that vein is American Pickers, where they go and they look for different antique items. I mean, obviously the show is staged, but the novelty of it just comes from all the different gobbledygooks that they find. That's why I like watching it, because I like seeing all the strange, unique, and wonderful stuff. And I think watching it for the stuff is the whole point of it. I mean, if you're not interested in the stuff, you might as well not be watching it. It's not exactly something that you watch for the reality part. Kinda sad, although it's understandable. Shape redacted. Funny, demo version is very similar to full version. Is that like a shape code that you copy-paste? I've nearly stopped watching American television entirely. British television is better for some reason. I would probably agree with you. I would agree with you a lot there on that one, actually. Generally speaking, overall, British programs are very nice. I mean, I grew up watching a lot of British television as well. One of my favorite shows growing up during my childhood was actually Kipper the Dog, which was a British children's kids show about a dog named Kipper and his friends, based on the book series, illustrated by Mick Inkpen. A lot of the great TV shows, man, a lot of the influential ones start out as, like, children's book series, like Arthur, Clifford the Big Red Dog. I think Magic School Bus was a book. Man. Oh, I should be painting these. I just now realized that. I can just steal some paint from this. Nothing could possibly go wrong from that. Or I could just get new paint entirely. There we go. But in terms of, like, other shows, I remember on PBS there was a show that my family and I really liked watching called Keeping Up Appearances. It was a comedy, and it was it was incredibly funny, at least to me at the time. And I've watched some of it since, but it's really aged well. And of course, there are all the very famous British shows that people watch that I need to catch up on. I'm not very well caught up when it comes to television in general, honestly. My television watching habits were always very strange. That is indeed a shapecode. Ah, I'll paste that in sometime, I think. In fact, I'm going to save it someplace. Hold up. There we go. Good old sticky notes got my back. Man, they've really gussied this up since Windows 8 sticky notes. But yeah, I've always liked it. Just having little sticky notes on your desktop. It's a relic back from when, it was a relic back from when, like, widgets and stuff were a big gimmick. And I really miss those days, honestly. Like Windows 7 and stuff. Windows 7 was fun. Of course, I also experienced Windows XP and stuff like that, but Windows 7 makes me nostalgic too. What really makes me nostalgic is like those old Windows screensavers like the Maze one. I think that was the Windows 95 one. I remember in like kindergarten, in class I'd just get distracted and watch that maze go for hours. Well, not hours, because I didn't have that much time in a class, but I think I get in trouble for that a few times because I just couldn't stop looking at the maze. Although you can't talk about mazes without talking about the king of CG mazes, Mandrill Maze. That's a video I haven't been introduced to until recently, like maybe a year or two ago, but I've loved it ever since. It's a tech demo that just oozes like energy from that era, and it's really, really just something else. It's something special. Mandrill Maze saved me, man. Well, would I go that far? Maybe not. I think I'm exaggerating a little bit. I'm not 100% ironic all the time, but it's still quite nice. It's just going through an endless maze, and there are these like pictures of there's this picture of this mandrill tiled across every single wall, and there's this music playing in the background, and it's really entertaining. Apparently there were a whole bunch of memes made for it back in the day, because you can look on YouTube and have see videos of like various characters and people trying to escape the Mandrill Maze, like it's some kind of SCP or something. And then there was a TF2 map based off of the Mandrill Maze, simply called Mandrill Maze, and it was basically the same thing. LOL uses random shape generator again. Random shape generator. Is that a thing? It doesn't surprise me that'd be a thing. Alright. Now, how am I going to get these shapes combined? It combines the right input to be on top of the left input. That means I got these facing the wrong way then, huh? Oops. Well, that's okay. Let's just go ahead and get... I think that 6 is a pretty decent number for now. it's not too overkill, while at the same time not being too, whatever. Man, I'm in the shape groove now. It's really entertaining. I'm just really... I feel better now. Streaming has really helped me, actually. Now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get this. Yeah, just same strat as before. Yeah. Aw, yeah, boy. That was a fun thing. I miss 2016, too. Like, for the meme culture and everything. Not 100%, because there were a lot of things about it that I found unsavory, but overall, I just really miss a lot of it. And I liked how YouTube still kind of felt like a chaotic landscape during that time. It was really interesting. I really miss when the internet didn't feel so sanitized. I mean, granted, it did probably have some consequences on me, but not too terrible. No consequences too great for 2000s internet, after all. I remember, like, when I played all of those, like, virtual pet games, back when those were popular on the web. Of course, the biggest one that I played was Webkinz. I had so many Webkinz, still have so many Webkinz, sitting in my, plush compartment. Or, plush... What am I storing my stuffed animals in these days? One of those, draw bag... Not a draw bag, just one of those barrel bag type thingies. You know what I'm talking about. I have so many of those. It is a nice viewer for shapecodes. Oh! So I could just paste in the shapecode and I could view it there. Is it a web-based shape viewer? If it is, I might go have a look at the shapes sometime soon, once I finish building this and I just have to wait for the shapes to come out. Or it might be in the game, I don't know. Though yeah. Man, these shapes look cool. I know they're blueprint shapes, of course, but they look amazing. Now I just gotta hook them up to the hub. Honestly, I think blueprint shapes probably need their own thing. I will just yoink them through here. There we are. And now we can take these blueprint shapes. Oh, I could use these mergers and just merge them onto one. I highly doubt that I'm making enough blueprint shapes to clog up the system. I'll probably just make enough to, like, cause a minor inconvenience. A minor inconvenience sounds like a level from Shovel Knight or something. Like an alternate name for Mole Knight's level. Because it's underground, like a volcano type level. And the name is an underlying problem. Or at least that's the name of the soundtrack. I guess the levels don't really have names. I just call them whatever. I guess I just call them whatever the soundtrack is. You know what I mean. If you like platformers, you should definitely give Shovel Knight a go. It's like the icon of modern indie games these days. Or at least one of them, I'd say. But, it's definitely earned that status. Oh, it is web-based. Okay, now that I'm producing blueprint shapes, I'm gonna go have a look at it. And have a look, rather. Shapes.io random shape generator. I'm in my browser right now. Oh, it's so cool. Ah, that's a cool looking shape. I love that. Man, that's an intricate shape. That is a really neat one. I couldn't imagine producing this in-game at my current status. I wish you could put embed things into the YouTube chat. That'd be cool. Although, it'd probably end in chaos with how a lot of streamers go. People would be posting heavens knows what. But yeah, we're posting a pretty good amount of blueprint. Or posting, we're producing. Yeah, I just posted some blueprint shapes. We're producing a pretty good amount of blueprint shapes. I like our production rates. I can always hook up more. We'll just have to make 1,000. Once we get past this initial hurdle, it won't be a big deal. Very satisfying game. Makes you feel good to accomplish something major like that, just to look back and see how you're... Oh yeah, these are still clogged up. I need to resolve that sometime. But I'll wait until later. Oh wow, this is really backed up. I should probably fix that sometime. You know, I don't need these... Oh, I do need some magenta circles. I was about to say, if I don't need magenta circles, then why am I bothering producing them? But I wonder if I could just, instead of doing this, just hook these up to here. Well, I could just merge these two together. That would be good. Yeah, we got it. There we go. Well, I guess we just gotta wait for the rest of these shapes. And then the game literally says, "This is not an idle game. Make more shapes." Well, you do have to make more shapes to meet the increasing demands, but honestly, I don't think it's really worth the effort to try and make another blueprint shape factory right now. At least not until I actually get blueprints. Man, everything is crisscrossing on itself. This is a spaghetti factory if I ever saw one. I could try and produce more white circles. That's always a goal to aspire to. Maybe later. I have all these that I'm not using. Might as well get rid of them. I guess I shouldn't be afraid to grab dyes if I were to need them. Man, it's so satisfying to look at all these factories. This one is definitely backed up to an unholy degree. Ah, this is terrible. That's okay. There we go. Now we don't have to worry about... Ooh, now we have to make magenta squares with white circles inside them. Looks like we're going to need either another white circle factory, or just... This is not a true spaghetti factory. Yeah, honestly, I'm pretty proud of how organized everything turned out. I'm thinking I could just use these white circles, because I'm producing them at a rate that's definitely way bigger than I'm using them. And it's not like it's going down any. It's quite backed up. Wonder what's throttling production. They all seem to be going at the same rate. I guess I can do some adjustments later if needed. Although I think it's just because I backed them up earlier. I think I should just start producing more white squares, or circles. Well, there we go. Just do it like this. Oi. Well, don't worry. interesting. Not my best strat. Alright. Now I can just put this here, yeah. But as far as games go, what other games would you be interested in seeing me play? Because I can think of quite a few games that I can play that I like. And I'm curious as to what kind of games you would see me play. Whether that's just more management or factory type games like this, or just a completely different genre, because I play lots of different genres. Alright. Yeah. And I just go ahead and get some more of these circles. They are circles now. Yeah. One game I've entertained the thought of streaming among the other ones I've mentioned is, maybe Friday Night Funkin'. Although I think I just record videos of that. It's very entertaining, of course. I've been playing through the game some. I beat it on normal, but I've been trying to beat it on hard. I had to skip past week 2. It's difficult, even on normal. I don't understand why Spooky Mumps has such a big difficulty spike. I always talk about this. It feels like it should be like I don't know, week 6 or something. Not week 2. But I guess it's because of lore. Yes, Friday Night Funkin' does have lore, from what I've heard. Of course, the lore is not the main focus of the game. The main focus of the game is getting funky on a Friday night, of course. But I view it as more of like enrichment for the game if you want to go the extra mile. There is some interesting trivia. And it's also interesting just how many of the characters in that game have history on Newgrounds and the internet in general. That's why the game is so beloved, I think. Truth be told, I didn't even know a lot of those characters existed until... well, not a lot of them, just some of them. Like Pico in particular. Actually, I take that back. I'd seen Pico before because he was on the rating thing for Newgrounds stuff, where you could rate people's stuff. I didn't realize he was like the site... I guess I realized he was a site mascot. But whenever I had been looking on Newgrounds, the site mascot to me, I'd always associated it with the black and white dude with the helmet. I think that there are multiple mascots, I'd just never seen Pico that much. And obviously, growing up, I'd never played Pico's school. Well, that might not be so obvious. Knowing me, I probably would have accidentally stumbled onto that. Although, I don't know, I think I had good enough sense not to mentally scar myself that much, stumbling across on that game at such an early age. I might try and play it sometime if the gameplay is worth playing. It's definitely very interesting. It's a good piece of history. And having played the game definitely makes me feel bad, and having seen the game and knowing about it definitely makes me feel bad for Pico. Okay, I shouldn't have put those there. Talk about being an amateur and a disgrace. I don't think I'm that much of a disgrace, though. I try to think positive thoughts about myself. It's not good to be self-deprecating all the time. Alright. So yeah, it do be a Wednesday night. I guess technically Thursday now, because it's past midnight here. But yeah. Now we gotta paint these too. 3, 4, 5, 6. The old internet. Definitely not like any other time we've ever had in history. It's an aesthetic all its own. It amazes me how everything just grew so much during the 2000s, even despite everything that went on with 9/11 and all the mass hysteria and fear associated with that, and all the bad stuff that happened in general. It was just really nice to see everyone coming together, kinda sorta. That's the overall vibe I got from the early 2000s especially. Not to say that was the example all the way through, I can definitely attest to that. But, I wish that we all could come together like that again sometime. Not that I would want the circumstances like that to happen. I mean, like, just that we would have the ability to again, instead of being as we are now. Alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and see. Is the Magenta Square Factory producing an adequate amount of magenta squares? Oh, as a matter of fact, it's not. It's producing a whopping grand total of 0. I got it confused with the Magenta Circle Factory. An amateur mistake for sure. Tunnels do have reduced speed, I know. Unless you maximize the distance, is that how they work? I might test that sometime. But yeah, can't wait till we get the long tunnels. Hopefully that's gonna be soon. Are these where the white circles are coming out? Yes, it is. So the white circles... I want to create some markers. Maybe it'll help me. Oh hey, you can generate a shape key. That is nice. I guess I ought to generate more shape key, or mark my shape factories more. This is where the blueprint shapes are made, so I would just include the shape code for that. And I also do one for a white one. I like giving them funny names, and I think that just Insert Shape Here Factory is a very funny name, because it's just something so abstract. I didn't mean to put that there. There we are. Yeah, everything's pretty well managed in this factory this time around. I still have tons of blue being produced here. Don't know why I was going to... I guess I was going to use that. Oh yeah, the blue and the red here was going to be mass scale produced into magenta. Or... produced into magenta? Made into magenta. I English weird sometimes. Produced into magenta. Is that even grammatically correct? I don't know. Let's see. Ay caramba, I got these facing the wrong way. Well, we don't need a whole lot more of this dye. Just need to take out enough to, We might have to resort to spaghettiing some parts of it. But don't worry, spaghettification is part of the fun. I feel like spaghettification is an actual term for something, but I forget what it is. There we go. These tunnels are a godsend. They are absolutely wonderful. They save on so much space. I would love to use them more. I don't know if the speed is quite optimal, but Speed, that's a card game that I played in school. I forget exactly how it went. It's one of those games where you have to get rid of all your cards before your opponent. I learned how to play that around middle school. Let's see. Well, I guess we'll just... It just occurred to me, I'm not dyeing squares with these. I need to dye some squares. Fortunately, we have some squares over here. Yup. I guess now I can put these blueprint shapes into action, because this is a very similar setup to the dyeing facility I have in the other place. Although that one is rotated the other way, or it's flipped. Or no, it's rotated. I don't know what it is. It's just this kind of setup. I guess I could try selecting it and taking it. Yeah? I think that's alright. Okay, we'll have to rotate it. We have enough blueprint shapes for this. Ooh, you can even visualize it from the menu. That is really spicy. Okay. So the shapes would be coming in from this angle. Yeah. Now it's easy. Tell me about it. That's one of the achievements, of course. Wonder if I have... Yep, and it makes 6. It's a recipe for shapes that serve 6. That's nice when the recipes... Trying to pump these dyes up here. If I could get many more people to stream with me, I might stream Among Us, but social deduction games like, well, Among Us in particular stresses me out because I worry too much whenever I'm imposter. That's the problem. I'm always worried about being perfect. Again, my perfectionism strikes back. Probably need to see a doctor. Oh well. I'll label this as the Magenta facility, or a factory. Something like that. Oh, the game that... It's actually called Purple here on the site. Well, I guess it technically is magenta, but I guess it's just called purple. Which brings up a very interesting question. Should you call something the name that people call it, or should you just call it what it's officially referred to as? Which is the correct interpretation? But that's a question about linguistics. I'm going to try and keep it light on the questions for now. I don't need to waste my voice on something like this. Should I copy paste my stacker setup for the blueprint shapes? I guess I should. That'd definitely make it easier. Let's see. This will be a fair bit more expensive. Yeah, that'll be good. Certain shapes go in one, other shapes come in the other, and they all go out the other. How about that? Well, I just ran out of shape currency. I guess I'm gonna have to watch an ad to get more blueprint shapes. This stream is sponsored by nobody, actually. I was gonna make a joke about it being sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends or something, but I'm kind of paranoid that they would actually pick up on that and say that my stream is false endorsement. Although it's as much of an internet joke as it is nowadays, I don't really think it would matter. Remember when the Legend 27 was an internet joke? We like Game of War Fire Age? That one mobile game that'd be on every single Droid phone that you'd buy. I remember those days. People still pre-package software onto phones. All this software that's just bloat that no one's gonna use. Like, when on earth am I going to use the IMDb app? I could just go on the website. Why can't I just install it myself? Why is it forced to be on my phone and why can't I uninstall it? Oh well. Alright, am I doing it the right way? Only one way to find out? Wait a minute. Do the stackers stack the right input stacks on top of the left? Okay, good. It does produce the right shape. I was panicked for a minute there. About as panicked as you can get in the game about shapes, anyway. Alright. I'm going to try and label my factories more. It's very convenient. This stream is sponsored by the hit new platformer shoot 'em up combo, Little Red Rocket Ship. Oh yeah. Definitely sponsored by that, because I'm the one making that game. Now we just need to add unlockable heroes and gacha mechanics, and we've got ourselves a hit new mobile game to truly rock the competition, to truly rock the scene of mobile gaming. Wonder how an LRS gacha would turn out anyway. Oh gosh. I'd have to add in like bikini outfits for all the female characters. Well, not all of them, just the ones that people would be demanding fan service for. And that is not something I'm about. I mean just pointless fan service for characters who shouldn't really have it in the first place. I mean, whatever you're into is your thing, but I don't think that like, characters should be doing something, like, uncharacteristic in that fashion. Just rubbed me the wrong way. It reminds me of what Yoko Taro did when they asked him to do a swimsuit outfit for one of the characters in a mobile game. His design was like one of those diving outfits with the big bulky metal helmets and stuff. And then they told him that they wanted one that showed more skin, and so he conceived the Lazy Bear Minstrel outfit, which is literally just the character in like a bear suit. The bottom half is like a bear suit, In the top half, she's wearing like some kind of loose shirt, and she has like a lute or something. It's really funny. My explanation can't do it justice. You'll just have to look up Lazy Bear Minstrel to see what I mean. It's really funny. That man just did whatever he wanted and didn't let anyone push him around. Because, yeah, I wouldn't do my characters like that. So many shapes. It'll probably stop clogging up soon. It'll probably be, yep. It's probably going to produce them at around the same rate as Blueprint shapes, which is honestly not as fast as I'd like. Let's see if I can fix that. I can just scale up factories now. With ease. Let's see what other shapes I need. Oh yeah, I can optimize my other shape production. Like over here, this is ridiculous. We shouldn't be having this at all. What if I instead just added another belt? Maybe that'd be enough? Let's just put this into a trash for now and see if it actually, like, reduces anything. It works. Pretty well. There we go. All these shapes can go in here now. And at some point, you should eventually be reaching... Okay, this shape production's a bit slow. Let's see what's cutting it back. I think I'm just not supplying things fast enough. Yeah, honestly, I need to be supplying magenta cubes more rapidly. And the problem with magenta cubes is that I don't have enough magenta paints. Do I have enough magenta paints? I do not know. I guess if I'm not, like, wallowing in it, I could always use more. I guess I could start producing more magenta specifically for this factory. Let's see if I have some other mixer setups someplace else. That's for cyan. I guess I could always produce more magenta. We have some paints over here. I will just do it in 4 this time. Although it won't matter so much because the tunnels. I'm not sure how much longer I want to keep streaming tonight. I think after this I might do a couple more, then I'll quit. I don't know. Balancing these will be a balancing act. Actually, way better idea. Instead of worrying about things like balancing shapes or colors, why not just do this? Wonder what would happen if I just streamed until I fell over from exhaustion. Probably wouldn't be a very good idea. I wouldn't recommend it. There are far better things to do with your time than to stream until... I don't know. That does seem like a pretty baller way to spend your day. Just collapsing on the ground and saying, Shapes.io, I finally streamed it. Maybe I just have a sick sense of fun. You think this is fun? You gotta be cuckoo crazy. You want fun? Wario show you fun. I love that so much. It makes me happy to see Wario getting more public attention, because he honestly deserves it. I'm glad that the Wario apparition got high meme status back last year. It's so strange to think that was back in August. But yeah, it was. Oops. No undo button in this game. Every mistake you make is permanent. At least until you take it out. But yeah, Factorio has limited resources. You have to deal with alien attacks. It's an excellent game in its own right, but it's not the same experience as something like this. This is much more of a serene experience. There we go. Now we got some more magenta being produced. I wonder how white circle production is going. Oh yeah, I doubled up on white circle production because I split the excess white. I could make more of this stuff. Now, why was I making more magenta dye again? Oh yeah, to dye more squares. Let's see if this is going well. Some of them are deficient in magenta squares, others are deficient in white circles. Isn't it funny how that works? Maybe I just make a completely separate factory for these things altogether. I'll just borrow from here again. What if I just copied and pasted this all the way from here? Yeah. How am I supposed to fit this in? Oh! No, that goes. I think I missed one. No, there's still one more. It's just on the outside, so it's kind of funky. Nothing wrong with being funky. That's how they do. There we go. Now we gotta get the magenta down here. Problem is, the magenta is being produced way up there. Well, as you know, there's a very, very simple solution to these kinds of problems. There we are. See? Told you. Almost 2,000 of those little shapes. Admittedly, our rates are not great. Wonder what went into developing this game and making such a modular shape system. Well, I mean, I could just peek into the source code if I wanted to. Sure is something. Now we just got the fun part. Ah. Hook these up. And just like that, we have produced Magenta Square Factory number 2. Now that we're producing more of these bad boys, we can start producing more white circles, and once we produce more white circles, we will be in business. Problem is, how are we going to produce more whites? Well, I guess we could start by producing more of another color. I like this setup I have here. It's incredibly chaotic. But in a good way. There we are. I'm just preemptively hooking these up. There we go. Now all the ones from this side will be green. Exactly 6. It's nice to have a design for something you can just paste it. Saves you a lot of busy work. And now, just gotta put a bunch of blue in it. This is an even more fun design. Costs 1,000 of these blueprints. Okay, so it looks like this is yellow mainly. So we're gonna need blue in large numbers. For some reason I keep thinking of that Family Guy clip with the centipedes and then the millipede comes in and he counts all his legs and he shouts, You're an imposter! I think it's because I saw a meme with the, imposter assess meme with it. Because every time anyone sees something that says imposter, they immediately think of Among Us. And I gotta admit, it's pretty hard for me to not think of it either. People have obsessions over games like that all the time. Like I said, junior high, I was obsessed with Minecraft. I would talk about Minecraft every single day. Every single waking conversation was about funny block game. Okay, here's the whites. Now where are the circles? Back here, apparently. One thing that really got me into Newgrounds later in life, this was after the 2000s, was Geometry Dash. Because if you've played Geometry Dash before, you'll know that all the songs from Geometry Dash are in the custom levels are taken from Newgrounds, and a lot of the official ones too, as well. A lot of the people who made music for Geometry Dash have uploaded their songs on the Newgrounds, if not all of them. And of course, those people in turn have made the soundtracks to just about every 2000s kid's childhood in the form of all the songs from their Flash games. Need some more of these blueprints. Such a satisfying sound when you don't have enough. I guess I could try just copying these sections. There we go, much more manageable. Wish you could just flip it. That's okay. I'll figure it out. Come to think of it, I could have just taken my other design. Oh well. Almost done. We're producing, whoopsies, white circles by the day. The long tunnels will be wonderful for this kind of thing. Where'd the other ones come from? I thought there were 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Oh, number 3 doesn't have one. Have we got 6? We got 6. We got the shapes, boys and girls. Alright, now to stack them on top of the magentas. Circles go in top, squares come in from the left. Seems simple enough. Ooh, that's expensive. Let's just copy this part. The not fun part to make. There we go. 420. Yep. Definitely need to use these blueprints. But yeah, circles come in the top, squares come in from the sides. I've got that ingrained in my head. Now it's just a matter of merging these shapes. I guess you could say this is emergent gameplay. Or at least that there's a lot of emergent gameplay to be had here. Okay, that's not how you do the shapes. That's the wrong way. You be putting those shapes the wrong way. Guess I was wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. There we are. Now we have shapes. Now what kind of production line can I put these on? I could put them on the blueprint production line, but I kind of want to save that for blueprints. Yeah, I've almost produced my amount, which is kind of funny because I won't need to produce any more after that. I put so much effort into making a new factory. Well, you know what? It's not about the shapes that you make or the goals you reach. It's about whether you had fun making the shapes. And that is a yes for me. The real shapes are the friends that we made along the way. Let's just put these with the rest. Yeah. Okay. Now, ta-da! Now let's watch in awe as these shapes come down from the top. But yeah, not sure if I want to end the stream after this one or after the next shape. I guess it depends on whether or not I really feel it. If I recall correctly, the next shape is going to be quite big to produce too. How are we going? But yeah, we have all our resources dedicated to pumping shapes out here, so I don't think we'll have any troubles. I think the other line I was kind of compromising with not having as many shapes, but I think this is alright. It'll straighten itself out in a moment when we have all of them. At least I thought it was going to. Yep, it will eventually. Let's just watch the shapes roll in. Almost there. Oh. Do you want to make another marker over here, or will it be confusing? Yeah, here's the long tunnel variant. Yeah. Ooh, this is a neat shape. This is like a watermelon slice. This is a new challenge. We're having to produce 8 of these per second. Sounds really cool. Although honestly, I'm getting a bit too tired for this for tonight. I think I'm gonna quit now. But yeah, that was really cool. Tomorrow I hope to stream more of this, because it's very entertaining. But yeah, thanks for joining me on this shape journey. Hope you all have a good night and hope you all are doing well.